Hi, this video will now show you the new monthly invoicing process for life skills. The following process is a replacement of the existing brokerage access database system. This includes all invoicing for participants that are invoiced to families and or third parties for fee-for-service self-managed support. Customer invoice templates have been set up to represent customer requirements transaction that repeat each month. Standing invoices have been set up per participant where you'll be able to adjust and amend certain fields each month instead of entering the new invoice from scratch. This process is to be completed at the end of each month, before or on the first of each month. When you have a new participant commencing and a new template needs to be set up, please contact finance for the form that needs to be filled out in order for us to set up the template. The form will look like the following. It will need the client details with last name, first name, and the billing address, the suburb, and the postcode we need to send the invoice to. We also require billing information regarding the monthly supports. For example, we need the hours, we need the price per hour, we need to know whether it's free or got tax applicable to it, and we also need to know the narration, which basically is the type of support you are delivering to the client. This may be one-to-one daytime, it may be group, it may be community access, or it may be transport, which is reflected in kilometres. This template shown is basically a draft version, so the yellow portions are the ones that you'll need to amend. This is assuming one client has 5 supports within a month, and this may be a regular Monday, Tuesday or Wednesday each month, or whatever day it is in the month, and the number of hours per day. You'll see in the narration field there is a day, and month. This will be set up in the template. However, this is part when we go through and amend the invoice, you will need to change that to reflect the applicable day in the month that you provided the support. Once you complete this as a standard month to use as the basis for the template for the ongoing supports for the client, please forward this to finance and they will set it up in Greentree, ready for you to process the monthly invoice. We will now show you how to set up and process the monthly invoice for a client. This process brings in the templates created and creates invoice numbers. Please note you will need to update the invoice created based on the supports for the month for each client. This is detailed in updated support information. In Greentree, you'll be given access to be able to process updating standing invoices. Go to Process, Accounts Receivable, and Update Standing Invoices. To update the invoices, go to Process, Accounts Receivable, and Update Standing Invoices. You will now need to enter an update log. This update log will reflect your particular region. The templates have been set up with a reference starting with the first 3 letters of the region: BAL for Balcatta, BUS for Busselton, BUT for Butler, GOS for Gosnells, MID for Midland, and PEE for Peel. So your update log will be the first 3 letters, which is your region. So for example, I will be using Balcatta, so BAL. Then you'll be using your month. So assuming we are doing February invoices, so it will be 02, and the year, which is 2019, which is 4 digits of the year. The action date will be the date on or after the month-end date. You'll see the action date is the 22nd of February. You can put this, because the next action dates are February, so this reflects February invoices, which is okay. So, but we can put the 30th of the 2nd, and it'll bring up any invoices requiring action up until that date. To select your region, you just need to make sure the reference begins here with the region that you are doing. You can filter this further by right-clicking on the table heading, set selection criteria, select reference and contains, and BAL for Balcatta, and select. So that will reduce your table down just so it brings up your regions. To do that, select each individual one. Please do not select all. By selecting all, it still ignores your filter, and you'll actually be doing invoicing across the board for all regions. So please do not select all. Select each individual line by ticking the boxes applicable for the client that you would like to do the invoice for. It's also important to note to make sure to avoid duplication, to make sure that you have all your customers that you wish to generate an invoice for the month. If your customer is not listed there to select, please contact finance, as it's likely that it may be a new customer that a new template needs to be set up for, or the next action date is invalid and it hasn't come through correctly. But please make sure all customers are there before you save this. We will now assume that we only have these 2 clients to bill for the month, and we're happy with that, so we will click Save. You'll now, once you click Save and you reload, it has now generated an invoice number for these people. Please note down these invoice numbers, as you will now need to go into these invoice numbers and update the support details as required. You may print this table as well for your own reference, so you've got that on hand for future. You may print or export to Excel by basically right-clicking on the header fields, launch tables in XML for Excel, and it will automatically bring up Excel where you can save that file as applicable on your drive. We now need to go in and amend the template invoice that we have just created. So basically we go into data entry, accounts receivable, and invoice entry. You'll see obviously the invoice numbers, which is under the reference field on your log, and you can type in this number under the invoice detail and click Tab. This, as you can see, brings over the template. So it will populate the customer, and it will also populate the detail in the line items. You can expand the screen just by clicking the arrow across on the right hand side. And you can also use the bottom scroll bar to scroll across. So what we need to do now is update. Obviously this is only a template figure. If the kilometres are not that for the month, you will need to change the kilometres in this case for this person. So assuming his kilometres for February weren't 120, they were actually only 110. And the price, please make sure that the price is correct. For kilometres it may be 78 cents if they're still on the old price, or it may have increased to the new pricing. Please ensure pricing is correct and the quantity is correct. In most cases, the billing is free for clients. However, there are some cases where it's billed to a third-party provider where GST is added. Also to be updated is the narration. So in the narration for transport, we do the month of the transport kilometres. So for this, we can put in February 19 transport kilometres. And again, just tab. Once you're happy with that and you know that that's all the invoice is going to be for, and as you can see, the net totals there, it's got no tax, and the total is $85.80. Once you are happy with that, you can click Save. Now we want to do the next invoice. Again, type in the invoice, click Tab. And now this person has particular days that he attends support. So again, make sure the quantity and the price are correct. So instead of the template brings across 5, which is what the template says, but they may have only done 4 hours on a particular day. Type in the relevant price. Please note, once you put in the quantity, it will change the price back to 1, and you will need to manually put in the correct price. Again, you can just tab across to get to the relevant field. The amount field will automatically populate based on what you've put in your quantity and in your price field. You don't need to amend the amount field. You do need to amend the narration. If this date is not the relevant date applicable, you will need to amend the date. Also make sure the narration does include the support type, and please be as detailed as possible. So this information helps you when we are able to give you more information on what is posted in the system after month end. Again, you can tab across, assuming that the quantity for that day is correct, the number of hours of support, is that correct? And it's just needs a price update. Again, that date is correct, so you're happy with that date and you're happy with that support narration for that day. Again, tab, and then you just need to change the pricing. For that particular day on the 17th, again, you're happy with that date, and you're also happy with that narration being that level. Again, this person may not have done 5 hours on the last day in the month. They may have only done 3 hours of support. We'll need to change the price to the hourly rate. And again, the support type is the same. Once you're happy with that, you know the quantities are correct, the pricing is correct, and the narration is absolutely correct on the type of support they've completed, click Save. And that will complete your invoicing process for those 2 clients. Obviously, you'll have more to do, but it's a pretty simple process from that, just to update your invoicing. Thanks. Also, just a further note, if the template does bring over an additional line that you do not need, that is, they only received 3 supports within the month and not 4, you are able to delete the line just by highlighting the line that you want to delete and go Shift F2 on your keyboard, and it will delete that relevant line, and then click Save. And then you can reload just to double check what has been billed. Also, a further note, just check that the account code is correct. In most cases, this will remain the same from the template that is set up. If you're unsure on the account code that it needs to go to, please check with finance. Once you've completed all your invoice, please send an email to finance so you can advise them that you have now completed your invoicing, and they will be able to then review, check and send them directly to the clients. Please do not send the invoices to the clients. Finance will do this on your behalf. Thanks.